As much as we all like to rip on men, this is time to take some accountability.
Well, I think it is, because that's what the example is when you're talking about like somebody who's regimented.
You said ugly kids hang out with ugly kids. Being ugly is not a value structure.
No, that's not the value structure. The value structure is the tell of like, how's this going to interact with my group structure, and how's this going to interact with the way that I interact with other things. That's how people, now we don't think about these things, right? They're kind of intuitive, but that is how social paradigms work. We vet people based just even purely on looks. We do this. You're going to be way more likely, for instance, for a guy to pull over and change your tire if you're good looking.
You ain't lying.
And that's if you're a guy or a girl, right? Rather than if you're obese, guy or a girl. And the reason is, why do you think that is? It's like, it seems like...
people judge based on appearance. But what I also want to add is, having just graduated high school and witnessing cliques and friend groups all around me, I want to say that the most long-lasting, healthy friendships or friend groups don't take those superficial external factors as seriously.
There wasn't hazing in these groups?
There was, but the groups that took that more seriously did not last as long, did not have as healthy of a group dynamic. They would talk about each other behind their back. Like,
I mean, that's common
friend
in high
groups
school,
and
right?
friendships that are not so based on those sorts of things are a lot healthier and better. And I also want to ask you a question. If you had a close friend who suddenly like gained a lot of weight to the point of becoming overweight, would you suddenly distance yourself from
Oh
that
my
friend?
God, we would be so mean to him. We would be we would be just, I mean, we would be horrible. But the thing is like, I had a time where I gained a bunch of weight. People were horrible to me. And the thing is like, it's kind of good, right? It's kind of good. It's like, there's a motivating factor. Like, look, I hate to bring this back to you again, right? But these like IFBB pros and these bodybuilders and they are the meanest people to each other.
To each other.
To each other. Yeah, they're the meanest people to each other, right? But it's not malicious.
Go harder and
it's not malicious. Yeah. It's like
it can be a lot of the time to other people.
I know from the outsider's perspective, if you were to see some of these people when they're working out and they're like, no, pump it up, you one more, like, but there's a powerful motivator there that's not designed to be malicious.
I want to throw in, but to people not on that level, I would say generally these bodybuilders are the kindest people.
Yes, they're very nice people.
What we put ourselves through in our minds and our close people through, we know what that's like. We like no one's worse to myself.
And I completely believe that. But a high school bully who's relentlessly bullying someone for their weight to the point of effing up their mental health. What I'm saying is social hazing can draw those kinds of extremes, and therefore that's why I believe in counting.
Social hazing and then bullying to the point of like someone's life are
totally agree.
I'd love to say something about that because I went through that horrendously growing up. So I actually got kicked out of school. I was put in a therapeutic day school. I self-harmed for 12 years. I was obese until 19. I was a binge eater, and then I got diagnosed. I flip-flopped and went into anorexia for 3 years. So I lost a bunch of weight. I was over 330 pounds, but I got blackmailed, right? So I got blackmailed by 2 high school boys who like sent my photos around the school, and kids every day would come to school and tell me that I was fat and pick on me because I grew up with well water. And eventually I got kicked out because I was constantly suicidal. I was in and out of the mental hospital. And this was when cyberbullying became like a big thing. Like everybody was on MySpace, everybody was on Facebook. Now I can say it has motivated me as a person now. When I was 13 to 16, I was myself every day and I was on mental health pills, and I never fit in. I was never accepted. And then still until this day, like where I'm accepted now, I created that community. I started an online community that I run around the world with women. It's been hard for me to interject myself into society in a way that other people accept me, whether they see my arms or maybe I'm really high anxiety. And it took me years to love myself, years and years and years to come to a place where I was like, I don't care what people think about me. I'm going to dress how I want. I'm going to listen to the music that I like. And so I think I do agree with what you're saying, where it can be a motivator, but I really think
I think this kind of be misconstrued a bit. So when she said there's a difference between hazing and bullying them to the brink of like gonna unalive themselves, I agree with that, right? I do think that there's social hazing though, and I think that it is healthy, and I think that it is necessary. And it doesn't even always have to be super brutal. Like the way that women socially haze, usually I think that that's actually more brutal than the way that men do. Okay,
Yeah.
I think it's way more brutal than men. It's like we just look at each other and we're like, you're wearing the wrong shit. We push each other and shove each other and do shit like that and whatever. No one cares, right? But women do all kinds of like backbiting and rumor mongering and all sorts of things to test. And it can be, I understand that, right? But what I'm saying is that social hazing itself, I think that if you take the bullying aspect and you say, well, we have to eliminate social hazing because it can lead to bullying, I think that that's when you're going way too far. You're going outside of basic human interactions, because we do kind of need to socially haze each other a bit. It's kind of necessary.
I agree with Andrew. Bullying someone to the point where they want to take their own life, that's not cool. But telling someone that they're wrong, delusional, or might be gaining a little bit too much weight, it's a normal, healthy practice in society. It might hurt their feelings, but it can potentially save their life.
I would like to add, I do kind of think that we are acting as if like we're talking about social hazing as if it's like the only way to push someone in the right direction. I've had very kind, very supportive friends tell me that something I was doing wasn't good for me and like really encourage me. And it has like, those have been things that have changed my life.
You did that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the social hazing comes before the friend comes. That's part of the social hazing process. That's where you're kind of developing the group dynamic, right? The social hazing happens before there's a friendship.
Yeah, but if I meet someone that I don't like in some way, or their values don't align with mine, my goal isn't to change them. My goal is to find someone who I do want to be friends with.
Yeah, I understand your goal may not be to change a person, right? But you probably have people that you find unpleasant to be around.
Absolutely.
Or you don't particularly care for their company, or you don't like them very much. You don't like when they're around maybe friend groups that you have. And that's where social hazing comes in. It's the idea of like creating a rejection of space between you and other people because you don't want them either a part of your life or a part of the people around you's life, because they're just unpleasant for you to be. Whether they're unpleasant or not has nothing to do with it. They're unpleasant for you. And that's kind of what social hazing is.
I just think that we're completely capable of doing it in a way that isn't like mean. That's it. I think that.
Yeah, I know that there's a big emphasis when you talk about this issue between men and women, where for women, there's a value structure that they have around, I call it the cult of be nice, right? Where it's like, be nice means everything. Men aren't really that way. They don't really give a shit about nice, really. It's not all that important to us. And so we talk about the issue in a totally different way, right? That's how we discuss the issue. But I don't think that women, even though they ascribe to be nice, that box of be nice, I don't think they actually are. I think that I
do not like the word nice.
Yeah,
I think kind can be kind
yes.
and good.
Yeah.
But good is not equivalent to nice.
That's not equivalent to nice. Yeah.
So it's hazing kind.
It can be very kind, yes.
Can be.
It's not. It's developing your.
No, it's not. It's called the gateway to bullying.
You're a victim. Here we go, CSI.
You start there.
No. That's right. Well, okay. Well, then, I mean, speaking is a gateway to bullying. Then.
Well, I would also like to add
social hazing is a lot more
that's-
proximate because it's about judging others for something.
Yeah, we unfortunately though we make value judgments on things all day long and on people all day long, and that's good that
You
we
keep
do.
saying value judgments, but these are superficial.
No.
judgments.
I'm saying you make value judgments on people all the time, rightfully so. So, like for instance, if it's really late at night and there's a homeless guy who has a needle and it's going into his arm, right? My guess is you don't stick around that area very long, right? Well, you're judging his values, aren't you?
Okay, but then
Hang on. Aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Yes, you are. So you're making a value judgment.
And so what I do is I put distance between me and that person. But the kind of
You're socially hazing.
the kind of
Yes,
social
that's
hazing
social
you're
hazing.
talking about seems to be more like
Exclusion.
unwarranted comments and like actually going out of your way to say something to that person, like, oh, you should lose weight kind of thing.
You know, I'm not
That's
sure
the examples
that
you were giving earlier.
I'm not sure that it's unwarranted. I would consider what you just did there, where you're like, I'm not going to be anywhere around that, to be a form of social hazing.
I'll say I'm completely fine with that form of social hazing. Beyond that, I don't really agree with.
Are you sure? Like, I think I can think of a lot of times where maybe there would be people around who you don't particularly care for, right? But maybe you're getting to know them. And as you're getting to know them, you know, maybe you guys, you're talking past each other a little bit, starts with a misunderstanding, and then maybe later on you become friends, right? The way that this is going, though, in the beginning, right? The reason you have misunderstandings and things like this is you're both kind of pressing each other. Now, you may be doing this on the undertone, right?
Respectfully and maturely. Yeah.
Maybe, or maybe not, right? It depends on the person. And respectfully and maturely is going to mean different things to different people. Like for men, respect means something totally different than it does to women. And so does meanness. Meanness means something totally different to men than it does women.
Can we add context to this? Like, let's say there's a person in the street, they've got a needle from their arm, you know? It's like, I think we are all within our rights. If we don't know this person, we're going to like, sorry, like, it's not my not my yard, not my problem. I'm going the other way.
But you're not
that's not bullying though, or even hazing. I think hazing is like, okay, now my close friend just, you know, fell off the wagon, and what do I do as a person? Will I be nice and just pretend I didn't see anything, or will I be kind and say, this is becoming a problem to not just yourself?
I don't believe that's social hazing.
But
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, that's not.
That's just looking out for your friend.
Hazing is like a totally different, like if you think of like sororities and fraternities, hazing is like you kind of
humiliate yourself.
Yeah,
can be
like with your friends, like just
mess with your friends, or if you have.
I mean, that I think you're just making a decision on how you want to position yourself.
Okay, so do I make fun of my friend? That's it. In order to get them to readjust their path?
Sometimes, for instance, it can be very healthy to do. Yeah.
In a helpful way, that seems like a defined balance versus like, let me just be straightforward with you.
Look, sometimes it is the case, and I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news here, but sometimes saying, look, what you're doing is kind of silly, doesn't work as well as you're and that's the truth. Sometimes saying, look, maybe you should calm down, doesn't work as well as you need to shut the up.
Okay.
Sometimes that form of interaction actually works better to adjust behavior than the cult of be nice. And I think, by the way, that women are just superficially nice most of the time anyway, not actually nice, it's just a very superficial way that they engage. And I think that men are kind of more open and honest about how it is that the basic human interactions work. Like your perception of me, if I was around my friend group, would be that we were really mean bastards. But we're really not. Like, pick each other up. If someone's having problems, we make sure, like, they have financial issues, we're going to take care of it. If they got, social issues going on, we have their back, this and that. But we're going to call them all kinds of names. And we're going to rib them. We're going to make fun of them. We're going to clown on them. And like that, that's all part of the social interaction of people.
Yeah, I think that's totally cool between close friends and a friend group. I wouldn't say you should be like using that kind of language on maybe someone you don't know well.
I don't know. Usually we do it within 20 minutes of someone you just met. You're like, hey, look what you just did. And they're like, they give a lot. That's part of what social hazing is. Like, it's very common. It's very, very common for men to do this.
Listen, I could never imagine a life where I couldn't keep it real with my bros. If I had to walk around on eggshells around you, you're not the kind of company I would like to keep. Come as you are, or don't come at all.
Wilson, have you heard? I know you're a very well-educated man, well-read, well-spoken. One of the things
definitely not well-educated, but
don't you have a degree in religious studies? And no. Okay, must have been wrong, Wilson. Okay,
do your R&D.
My R&D was wrong. ChatGPT.
If only I had an only. Would have known all of this.
Spend too much time R&D. So.
Me and my boyfriend. Anyways, but okay, so I must say,
we're gonna melt down here. Okay, go ahead. What?
May I get a word? Yeah. My point being is there's a famous 19th century author by the name of Charles Baudelaire who created this beautiful essay on laughter, saying that it is actually satanic. Due to people, like, for example, finding comedy of someone else's pain, someone who slips and falls. A lot of people who aren't involved will go and laugh at them and say, oh, that's, because it's just it's a guttural reaction. And I think it's pertinent because it's when people laugh, it's either due to the madness of their own superiority or to the inferiority of others. And I think that hazing is.
I was just about to
That
say,
way.
do you think children
What?
laughing is satanic?
So that this is not this.
I'm kind of lost right now.
There's a
Are you
specific.
quoted? What the f- are you quoting?
So
Sorry.
with a kid, it's a bit of a different story. They mimic, they learn, and so when they're expressing
What about being
joy,
tickled?
it's joy. Tickle is a bit different.
You know, I used to think a lot of the things you like with kids, for instance, that kids just mimic. Until I had them, they don't just mimic. They have their own little thoughts, and they have their own little they're little human beings. That's true in development. I agree with that, but they're not just mimickers. We're not born blank slates. People have personalities ingrained in them. And you can almost see it the day that they're born. You know, you can almost see it right away. And so I don't believe in blank slate theory. I don't think that kids just mimic what they see and that's what they become. I think they have a personality associated with it, and the environment correlates with that. And then from there, they become the human being they're going to become. And I would just point this out too, that I was listening to a comedian this morning. It was cracking me up. He was talking about our jokes, right? He was talking about our jokes. And of course, those are taboo. You can never make those. They're terrible, right? They're horrible. But he made this great point. And he said, the reason that people made our jokes and laughed so hard about them, right? Everyone was laughing. Wasn't because they hated women. It's because when you think about all of the things that are funny, it's really that's morbid and horrible. And the reason that we're laughing about it is because we're making sense of the morbid world that we live in, and we're giving it context in a way that we can kind of deal with it. And that's what the whole point of the best jokes really are. And if you really think about it, now, I mean, maybe not you, maybe not you, maybe every unclean joke is terrible and you have no sense of humor. But the thing is, for most people, kind of the more morbid the joke is, right, the funnier it can really be. And that's why he was saying, you gotta start drawing some lines here on what it is we can talk about, can't talk about. It comes to our jokes, or in this case, when it comes to social hazing, you're not allowed to do that because, well, after all, that could lead to bullying, or it's a gateway. And it's that just, I think, ignores human interactions altogether. So anyway, I'm done with my diatribe.
I was going to
Go
say,
ahead.
first of all, I'm not against every unclean joke. I'm all for edgy, dark humor here and there.
So that was a lie.
But when it comes to our jokes, there's a lot of people who aren't laughing at our jokes or making them because they're trying to make sense of the morbid world we live in. They're making these jokes because they don't care about what women are going through,
joke.
and because they don't take it seriously.
That's every joke.
But that's kind of a bad thing in this case.
So then no morbid jokes because somebody could be taking it seriously, or
no jokes made in that insensitive manner.
Yeah, right. Nobody's allowed anymore.
Is that what I said?
To laugh at at insensitive jokes because you think they're insensitive, even though this is how we engage with the world. This is how
I'm saying no one should laugh at or make our jokes.
I know that you think that, but my argument to you is then why can they laugh at any insensitive joke? Who gets to decide which insensitive joke a person gets to laugh at and which one they don't?
Sure. So, I mean, with an R joke, you're making reference to women going through a traumatic experience and their consent being violated, and there's lots of
and when black people
assault.
are talking about slavery and making jokes about that, right? This horrible thing that's terrible, right? What are they doing? They're contextualizing and they're laughing. When Blazing Saddles had a scene where it's the sheriff is the N-word, right, with a ding, and they were clowning on slavery and clowning on Jewish people and this type of thing. The whole point was trying to make sense of this horrifically morbid world that we live in, and how else do we engage with it except to laugh about it?
You can make sense of your own experiences or regarding your own demographic, but to laugh at someone else's suffering when it's
so then no insensitive jokes allowed.
Well, I would say there the line that I would draw is okay, well, it's obviously not going to be a clear line.
Yeah, it's not a clear line.
When it comes to it's just kind of common sense though.
It's not kind of common sense.
Okay, well, explain.
I find things funny that you don't find funny, and what makes it common sense that you're allowed to find them funny and I'm not?
And this is why all the best comedians tend to be men, because we're not limited in what we find humor in. In fact, the edgier, the better. Surprise is the engine of laughter. If you're not willing to take risks or be taboo, then telling jokes might not be the thing for you.
That's what I call a chain reaction.
Manifest my own destiny. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, the perfect recipe. May they remember me, my words will live on. I'm guided by an energy, a flame, hold it close to you. Check out my melodies. It's the media that's been leading you. I'll show you a thing. Misdirection, what's the message? They don't want you to win.
As much as we all like to rip on men, this is time to take some accountability.